But okay, so let's talk about the lore. Let's do a recap of what we talked about during the show. So we talked about the Ring of Fire. Uh, there is one bloodstone there. Uh, More than likely, I'm guessing that's what Lazarus is probably going to go after. But also there, if you're a Guild Wars 1 player, you do have the Dor Kamali, which the Mossad had some issues with because behind it was Titans that were supposed to bring the end of the Mossad. So definitely in Guild Wars 1, since we did open that, you know, I think it then did close afterwards, but who knows if it could be reopened and how many times and how. So that could still give merit to the whole idea of maybe that's how Ritlock got down to the Ring of Fire Islands. Because basically, for people who don't know, the behind the Dor Kamali was the Foundry of Failed Creations, which is part of the Realm of Torment. But also in the Realm of Torment was the Ravenheart Gloom, which was a battle between the Order Whisperers and Malix the Unyieldings, were fighting back and forth. But that was 250 years ago. In that amount of time, we supposedly defeated Abaddon. Cormyr was put in place. Hopefully that made the Realm of Torment a little bit safer. I mean, with a name like Realm of Torment, who knows? But
Sounds painful.
yeah, exactly. But there were chaos rifts in the Ravenheart Gloom, which led to Tyria, Alona, and all they say is elsewhere, which that could lead to, maybe some of those weird places we saw on the map way back in the Derman Priory, like the one area not real. But well, Carnifex, that is interesting. You're saying would it be Cormyr's realm now? I still wonder that because when I read about it, they say it never says that Abaddon's realm was the realm of torment. That's where he was imprisoned. I don't think that's Abaddon's realm. It became his realm forcefully, but I'll definitely talk about it because, like I said, I was diving into the wikis and stuff like that. So, but if people have seen that, art like devs actually saying or interviews where devs are actually saying that, this is the case that Abaddon owned the realm of torment. I think he turned it into his own thing, like utilized it, but originally, yes, Realm of Torment was part of the underworld. Uh, but
Hmm.
like I said, basically they could use it for travel. So hopefully Cormyr. I think a lot of people are hoping Cormyr was able to heal the Realm of Torment. I'm worried that the Realm of Torment maybe corrupts her. Like that's my, you know.
Oh, oh no, that could be really good. I'm not.
But
Yeah, keep going. I'm
yeah,
gonna keep that.
but like we said during the show, this could be a way for Ritlock to make passage. Maybe he talked with the Order Whisperers, went through this, Ravenheart Gloom, uh, to the Foundry of Failed Creations, and came out and got Sohothan, which was Rorik's sword, and we know Rorik died in Guild Wars 1. Uh, Finally, at the Ring of Fire. So maybe that's how he got the sword. Hopefully, we'll at least get some more knowledge about that in maybe this chapter or while we're over there. But let's move slightly further out. Um, I'm hoping with this story, if we are able to open the Foundry of Failed Creations and maybe start venturing into these other realms, um, maybe more knowledge about the ability to traverse the mists will be brought to light. And from Guild Wars 1, we know that there are permanent portals. There are the Tomb of the Primeval Kings, which is kind of Crystal Desert-esque area. Other known portals in the past included the Dor Kamali, which is the one in the Ring of Fire. The Mouth of Torment, which is a little bit west, I believe, of the Tomb of Primeval Kings, which is more kind of like the northern edge of Alona. And on the Battle Isles, which I think that was even further west of the Ring of Fire and stuff. That was like its own separate place. Uh, Basically, that became like the PvP hub for Guild Wars 1. But the interesting thing is these 4 portals and where they're kind of located have been the wiki says they have been inaccessible over the past 250 years due to the rise of the Elder Dragons. Which, I mean, if you think about it, Dor Kamali, now we're just getting there. Maybe it was similar to why we couldn't go to Cantha because of, you know, Zaitan's in the way and stuff. And maybe now that we know Mordremoth was kind of there, we kind of had that kind of a barrier to get to the Ring of Fire. So hopefully we can get to the... It looks like we're getting to the Dor Kamali now, whether it's buried or not. The Tomb of Primeval Kings and Mouth of Torment kind of seem like that's being guarded by Kralkatork. And Battle Isle, the only one I could perceive to be a possibility would probably be the Deep Sea Dragon, which we really don't know much about, just because it's out in the water. That could still be the issue. But it is kind of interesting that it's like out of basically easily 2 out of the 4, I could argue with the Dor Kamali 3 out of 4 places being guarded by these dragons. Do you like? I think that's curious to note that it's like, do the dragons want to somehow break into there? Because maybe that's untold magic in there. I mean, they are things that want to consume all this magic.
Yeah, well, because it's interesting how the Elder Dragons are part of essentially kind of these guardians, or like natural guardians, I guess I would say, just because they came into power, they're just in the way of actually accessing these portals. And is there a reason why? I'm just trying to think, is there just an overarching reason why these portals aren't being accessed, why these Elder Dragons are just somehow in the way of accessing these portals? Does some higher power not want us go through them?
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to think of right now.
And like chat's saying, they don't think it's gonna happen, but they would like it to be. We go into the Realm of Torment, we make alliances with the Margonite, and they become the next playable race. Hey, maybe that could be a cosmetic offshoot of humans, because technically they were humans at one point.
That's true.
Maybe you can do a series of quests if you're a human, and you can... Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Upgrade.
Yeah, maybe like in the next couple expansions or whatever, they do that. Like, this time around it's humans. Maybe, you know, when we fight Jormag, Nord's gonna do a special quest to become, you know, those crazy looking, you know, basically take the weight of Son of Svanir and...
Yeah, if they did something like that, I think they'd do it all at once, because Reddit would just be in an uproar.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give a little bit of, like, it's a very long stretch, but yeah, who knows? I mean, I always liked, you know, Guild Wars 2 originally said they wanted to innovate and kind of push the boundaries. I mean, a lot of games kind of steer away from that because, you know, you're not doing it all at once. Be like, well, it's part of the story. Everybody's going to get their time. But that is very true that Reddit and the forums would be on fire.
But yeah, that would be a neat little Ascension type of deal, but I'm wondering how that would work. Would it be just like a straight up transformation, or just something humans can do, like humans can transform into Margonauts or something like that? Because transformation
would be like a one-way street, especially for the Margonite one. I mean, it'd be weird if they could just transform into it.
And back. It'd be like an Avatar thing, but that's what I was thinking. But yeah, I just transformations haven't been the greatest thing in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah,
outside of that one story instance where you turned to an Avatar Balthazar and you just wrecked everything. That was glorious. But avatars don't really have like a strong presence in builds,
and
or
you always risk
like
that thing of, because that's why they steered away from racials, was You don't want one side being like, oh, well, you have to be a human Markonite warrior or we're not taking you because you get this special yada, yada, yada. So,
Yeah.
more likely, probably not, but would be cool. Chat's also saying, isn't there a library of Abaddons in the Realm of Torment? I know they do have the Temple of the Six, which they do say in the wiki and all that stuff that they dropped that into the Realm of Torment with him, just because they didn't want people to know about the sixth god. So I'm sure there's definitely information there. Like, oh yeah, I hope we go to the Realm of Torment. I don't think it's gonna happen this episode, unfortunately, but hopefully someday. Um, but on the lines of permanent portals, if you look at their most of these were opened apart from the Door of Kamali and the Mouth of Torment. So basically, I think it was the Battle Isles and the Tomb of Primeval Kings were actually opened by a particular person. His name was Lord Odran, Odran, and it's kind of interesting if you look on the like I think it's just like the wiki under lore or something. It does say like the human nation saw little historical effect until 851 AE. Lord Odrin thought through sacrifices and powerful rituals became the first mortal to open portals into the mist. So we know it was 851 AE. That's just important note for later on with this, one theory. But interesting thing enough is he figured out how to open these, but he kept them hidden. And unfortunately, the magic that he used to do that was tied to his life. So unfortunately, when he died, those became open. And I think the ones that we find in Guild Wars 1 are the Tomb of the Primeval Kings. And I think they also say that the Battle Isles were also ones that he opened originally. But he is also known for creating the Map of the Mist, which I think we've referenced here loads of times. You can see it in the Durham Priory above an Abaddon statue. But it is important to note that there is scrawlings on the upper part of the arc that says, beware the danger of secrets kept. Which the weirdest thing I think is it's written in Ascalonian. Which
Oh?
Yeah, it's written in Ascalonian language, which it's like the reason I question that is the Durham Priory which is where it's located, so we know it's not a recreation of it, or maybe they did it exactly, but the Durham Priory actually created New Crichton, which is what we use in game. So it'd be weird if they made this, or redid it or something, because why would they use a language that they don't necessarily use, But the other thing I could think of, either Lord Odran was from Ascalon, or it is a warning to Ascalonians, or both. I mean, but it just seems weird that this map. I mean, he also went. If you think about it, where the portals are located that we know of, the Tomb of Primeval Kings and the Battle Isles, are far from Ascalon. So whether he was originally from Ascalon, traveled outward, and then just used that particular language, even though at that time there was still Crichton, not New Crichton, but just the Crichton language. I think there was Orion as well, but yeah, it's definitely interesting that he picked Ascalon. But going back to the timeline, it's also important to note that, of course, sorry, I have dogs barking in my ear. 100 BE. So this is where it kind of gets confusing when you don't. So this is before Exodus. So this is well before, humans drove out the Char out of Ascalon. So Ascalon was plenty established. There's no missing plot holes there. So, this is 100 years until the Exodus, and then 851 years afterwards is when Lord Odrin does the portal stuff. But it's interesting to note 1 BE before Exodus, the human gods though when you realize it, it was just really Abaddon that gave magic to the races of Tyria. But they kind of say the human gods did it, and then zero a like a little bit before that, because if you look it up, it says that's when the original fall of Abaddon happened and created the um, mouth of torment and dried up the crystal sea into the crystal desert, and then the gods left Tyria, and that was the Exodus, which became Zero AE. But it is I remember reading in there that they said that they put him in there, whether this is like a discovery, but important to note, they did say having caused cataclysmic damage, the remaining five gods left for the mists. Legends saying they went to create new worlds. This event was called the Exodus of the Gods. So, what are these other new worlds? Are these these other realms that we were talking about, like the realm of torment? Like, did they create other things in their image? Like, I mean, Balthazar has his realm, the realm of war, which has the fissure of woe we've seen in Guild Wars 1. A lot of people have speculated, uh, the other ones have theirs. We never gotten to see them or hear of them. But we also have Grent's realm, the underworld. He kind of took control of that one. But it always made me question, because they kind of said they put him in there to imprison him. They never say that they created it or it was there. I'm wondering if they created their realms based on the realm of torment itself, but that's one thing that hopefully when if we travel to the realm of torment, we find more about it. But, that's my question, is if it wasn't created, because they never referred to it as being created, but possibly found, what created it?
So, okay. Huh. I would say Alyssa's would be insane to be in. But if it was, so you're saying essentially the five gods went to establish their world, whether it be through creation or just necessarily just making an area part of their own fabrication of, like, just based off them. So let's say Duena's would be like Isle of Tranquility, whatever have you, and would that be created by Duena herself, or would that be just an area that Duena just molds into her domain?
Well, and that's why I'm interested when they say that supposedly they left to create other worlds. I'm wondering if maybe they knew the secret of this magic, but as a punishment to this one of the fellow gods that betrayed them, they threw them in this already established realm of torment, which, I mean, they also call it the nightmare realm. I mean, it's creepy as all get out. Like,
but yeah, I feel like the realm of torment belongs to Abaddon, and Abaddon was kind of established already as one of the six gods before Cormyr, and we already had the other five gods. We had Fissure of Woe, we had Underworld. We don't know the other ones, but basically Realm of Torment belongs to Abaddon, Fissure of Woe belongs to Balthazar, Underworld belongs to Grenth. So wouldn't necessarily throwing people into the Realm of Torment, that would be warranted because it's already an established thing? But
I mean, they might have saw it as something so hellish that they're like, this is just the thing to imprison them there. But chat's also saying, I don't think we'll be able to get to the realm of torment in the near future despite going to the Fire Islands. I agree with Wooden Potatoes that we'll be going to Thunderhead Keep in the Delgamore front after the Fire Isles. And I do want to say that, like, I have been avoiding, because I know Guildmag talked about Ring of Fire and stuff. Like, I've been kind of avoiding other lore stuff when I was making my own, because I didn't want to feel like I was stealing someone else's. So, unfortunately, I haven't seen Wooden Potatoes' theory on it, but I'm curious to know why we would go back to Thunderhead Keep in the Delgamore front. So
I think just association with the dwarves. would be a good reason, but I was thinking more of the Eye of the North maps for going back to anything concerning Primoris and the Doors. But I can see things like Thunderhead Keep being something. Just
Well,
because any
but
areas associated with doors could possibly be an area we go back into, and the
well,
associated with the White Mantle.
I mean,
Oh,
the only reason
yes.
they went to Thunderhead Keep was to attack the dwarves in their fortress. I mean, the White Mantle
The
leader
White
in Guild Wars
Mantle
One
leader.
died at Thunderhead Keep. I maybe I could see the other White Mantle like the Codicus ones going there because they would see him as a figurehead. But I don't see why Lazarus would want to go there. He probably wouldn't care like unless he had some kind of magical item on him. I mean,
Because if I go to like, let me see, if if we go to like Northern Shiver Peaks, we have Frostgate, Borealis Pass, Central Transfer Chamber, Yak Spins. If we go a little bit south from there,
I'll have to look up
Thunderhead
where
keeps
Thunderhead
his.
Keep is currently because I thought Brox and Bram said they were dealing with the uh, Sons of Svanir like
Yeah,
increasing, which we
the
know that's like kind of more north
yeah,
than
Thunderhead keeps in Southern Shiver Peaks.
yeah.
Well, in Guild Wars One anyway. Um, it was near Steam Spirit Bay, which is this map's really big. Sorry.
Yeah, trust me, I
Uh, it's actually Thunderhead Keep is like near the Dragon Brand actually, which is
but in the southern
huh.
part of it or
Yeah, like where the Shiver Peaks is kind of near the Ascalonian areas, or it's just nearby there. So I don't know where that would be in Guild Wars 2. I'd have to like map it over it and see.
oh yeah, I thought you were looking at that map. Let me but let me sorry.
So you have to get if you go somewhere near the Dragon Branch, should be around there. Yeah, just to the right of Iron Mines. One thing WP pointed out was that in Bloodstone Fen, in those rifts, frost wolves would spawn a creature that has never been in Guild Wars 2 before.
The theory is an asset that will be used in the future. Oh, I have no doubt that we're going to cover all of Tyria, hopefully, but I I don't see a lore reason of why we
Yeah.
would go there. Okay, here's Thunderhead Keep. It's
Oh, it
basically
actually.
hmm?
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pretty far east of what's this Lorners?
It's pretty much in.
That Lorners that's above Mount Maelstrom, but
Yeah.
basically it's kind of north northeast of Mount
The
Maelstrom,
unexplorable area.
but I mean it could
That's.
logically lead there
Yeah.
because there is a portal to the Ring of Fire there, lore wise. I just don't see why at least Lazarus would want to go there. I
I can see
unless
why we would want to go there.
and I could
Just
see also why
because.
like the Codicus White Mantle would want to, because like Carnifex was saying and what Wooden Potatoes is speculating, one of their leaders died there, so they want to continue that probably that image of it, whereas the Mersad are just like we just want power or whatever, like we don't care about the White Mantle, whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying, Carnifex. Like I'd
Yeah,
say
that could
caught it.
be.
So that's the interesting thing we have now. We have like possibly like you were saying during the show, we have Lazarus's probably white mantle follower type thing, but we have Caudicus's white mantle like so I could definitely see
Yeah.
Caudicus's white mantle going there. Which is that could be
This,
actually interesting, like having all like we're almost having a three-way fight where it's like
yeah, and it looks. I don't know if I thought I speculated for this Living Story season we would focus more on the White Mantle than and Lazarus than Primordius, but I can still see a reason going to like Thunderhead Keep in that area, not just because of White Mantle, but just because dwarves did dwell in that area, and like yeah, I don't know if that has any relevance to Primordius at all, but it might be as a byproduct of going there because of Codicus, if anything.
mhm. Uh, going back to what the theory that I was working with, we were talking about the realm of torment stuff, but I was also gonna say, what if Lord Odrin was another pawn of Abaddon's, kind of like how Vizier Kilbron, who then became the Undead Lich, and Shiro was basically a person that put these things into motion for him to do what he did in Nightfall. Um, So I do want to stress that uh, according to the timeline stuff, never had Lord Odrin and Abaddon never really had any direct interaction on Tyria that we know of. Uh, like I said, Abaddon got cast out right before the Exodus, which was like right before Zero AE. Lord Odrin started doing the mist traveling, and that was 851 AE. And then all the searing stuff with the Char, which we know was the Titans, which led back to Abaddon. That was 1070 AE. So there's big gaps between those things. Um, but with my theory, traversing the mist, I'm curious if did he ever run into Abaddon or anything like that, like or one of his generals like Malix or any of those ones. I mean, and suppose like because that's the creepy thing. Abaddon had so many like minion like his reach was pretty wide. I mean, they say the thing that got Shiro was um, that old fortune teller was supposedly a follower of Abaddon and put those thoughts of doubt into Shiro's head and all that stuff and made him do all those things in factions. Who knows if he ran across someone in the mist that, you know, did the same thing. Maybe he actually went to the realm of torment somehow. I mean, that's part of the mist. We don't know where he traveled. We just know the end result was he basically went back to that map and then that writing where uh, you know, he has that warning in Ascalonian.
Hmm.
But but I would want to say if he is what and he might not know he was a plaything of Abaddon's. I mean, we all kind of were. But if Lord Odrin was part of Abaddon's scheme, not saying that he knew about it, um, that would kind of place two Abaddon event type things directly centering around Ascalon. I mean, you have Lord Odrin's warning with the whole written in Ascalon, and also the Searing, where the Char drove out the humans with the help of their gods, the Titans. So, once again, you know,
Hmm.
but that really leads to the question of what if these are warnings towards Ascalon, uh, what is an Ascalon? And I would say so. Here's the mist map, but if you went to Guild Wars 1, if you went to pre-searing, the catacombs, you could actually see this area. If it's kind of a little hard to see, but it is a bottomless pit surrounded by skeletons. and we never knew, what was down there or anything like that. But this could lead to some interesting stuff with if you go to Guild Wars 2, Ascalon Catacombs, the dungeon, in story mode, when you fight in King Adelburn, at the very end, he's like, "You defeated me, but what have you gained? Much deadlier things stir beneath us. They'll consume you all." I wonder if maybe after doing this spell and stuff and becoming Ghost, they now realize what's underneath Ascalon. Like, who knows? And I did put a note of the explorable bosses. All of them are Gravelings, but 2 out of the 3 of them actually have this ability, which kind of reminds me of how Lord Odrin met his demise in like almost a reverse way. So I'm assuming Gravelings are a Tyrian creature and not like a demon. I'm not 100% sure, but the 2 out of the 3 of these bosses have these abilities of basically feeding on the ghosts, which turn them stronger and basically take less damage. Like the one where you have to actually kite him around and use like the ghost traps to weaken him, like bring him out of that ethereal form so you can damage him.
Yeah.
And also, now I'm blanking on there's the other one that rampages. Now I'm trying to remember that other one that actually has like ghost abilities or something. I think he basically becomes invulnerable when he's not a ghost or something like that, or when he is a ghost, but it's just interesting that the reason Lord Odrin died, because if you read his article, when he goes into the mists, he actually talks about when he first opens the portal, all these spirits try to go and attack him, but it's been so long since they ever fought a physical thing or have done it in their shadow spirit form, so they couldn't touch him. So he was basically able to walk freely through the place. But after so long, all it says is the ghost discovered found a way to damage. I actually have the quote here. It says, "Eventually the spirits of the hall discovered a way to interact with the corporeal world." And then that's when they tore Lord Odrin apart. And that's when he died, and the wards that were keeping all the portals hidden opened up.
Yeah. So there is a lot of portals. I'm learning. There's a lot of different gateways to different areas, and it's hard to keep track of if you don't like pay attention to all the lore. But
It's hard to keep track if you pay attention to all the lore. Like just like how chat was saying before, like when Potatoes has his, and like I said, I'm not saying this is a guarantee. This is just one strand that I dove in on, and I'm not saying this is gonna come out in a month. This could be year, 2 years, 3, like.
But you're archiving it now, saying that,
Yes.
See, I told you.
And this is why Twitch broke. They're trying to silence us. But yeah, it just brings up the question for me: is this the war? Like whatever's underneath Ascalon Catacombs, is this the warning Lord Odrin and possibly Abaddon we're trying to give on the map? If Abaddon's, the one that, because I mean, in reality, you could also argue Abaddon gave magic to the world, which basically gave Lord Odrin this power to open up the portal. So, in a long roundabout way, he is also the cause of it. But that's. But yeah, I'm really questioning what could be under Ascalon Catacombs. I mean, this is also the focal point of not only. I mean, it makes sense for why Ritlock plummeted in there because this is where the faux fire happened. But it doesn't make sense of he traveled through there and he became something else. Like, so there's more to it than just is the faux fire. I mean, there must be something there that's changing things, or who knows?
Yeah. I that possible thing is is that possibly how Ritlock got his, you know, revenant stuff?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just connecting the dots, and I don't know if it's making a picture. I mean, a lot of stuff's happening in
Hmm.
Ascalon that seems fishy. And I
Hmm.
mean, there's a warning about secrets. I mean, we don't know what's under there, but there's a warning about secrets written in Ascalon, like almost like it's a warning to Ascalonians. I mean, a Crichton theoretically wouldn't know what it said. Like, it seems like it's a specific warning to Ascalonians.
Hmm.
But,
Okay.
but I mean, to go off even the further of the deep end, uh, what do I think might be under there, or might be the release of all this stuff, and maybe in it, maybe is the realm of torment's home, Arachnia, which for people that don't know, and I wouldn't be surprised, but in Guild Wars 1 in the DAT files, so this wasn't even in the game, there was a DAT file for a creature called Arachnia, which seemed like it was it's like a spider god. And this is supposedly older than human gods. And the reason why I think this might be like maybe the starting of in the realm of torment is there are references to it in the realm of torment. There's Arachnia Plateau, and I mean if you go there, you see like these like arms and stuff like that. Like they kind of look like the ones you'll
Hmm.
see during like Nightfall and stuff, but maybe this is the power of the realm of torment itself. Uh, there's Harvestman's Lair, which is just a reference to a spider, and then Spider's Heart, but it has all these like spider themes to it more so than any other place. So maybe this is ArenaNet trying to get back to stuff that they wanted to put in game that they never got to.
Spiders, fantastic.
I mean, and they might not be
I,
spiders that we're thinking of. These are Arachnia God. I mean, they might just be eight-legged creatures, which I was gonna say, how many legs do the Chak have?
six, I think.
Is it six? Because they kind of had the same like spindly legs.
I'd have to double. Oh, I don't know. I think the like the smaller ones have six. I don't really pay attention to them. I just kill them.
Yeah, you don't want to
Um,
sit around. Yeah, I understand, but
but I think maybe the larger ones may have eight. I'm not sure. Um, there was what was I going to say? It was interesting you brought it up because for those who don't know, R.A. Salvatore has a series, a fantasy series of books, and it features a dark elf called Drizzt Do'Urden, and dark elves in that novel series had a spider god. I forgot the name of it exactly, but um, it's just interesting how that kind of just
I was
merges into
the
that kind of spectrum.
even further. The funny thing, I have to look for it on Lord Odrin's wiki page. Apparently, there was a person named similarly to Lord Odrin in I think one of those series that I have to look up because I want to quote it correctly. Let me. But people didn't put it on the wiki. It was part of the discussion because people were like, "Well, what are the similarities?"
Yeah, I was just interested in it because maybe a person at ArenaNet at the time was like reading those books and like had like wanted to make some sort of references to those books, and it would be a very interesting take.
Yeah. Here uh, okay. They wanted to put it in for trivia. Like you said, the books Starless Night and Siege of Darkness by R.A. Salvatore feature the subterranean city of the Drow, the Dark Elves. In one of these books, the readers play witness to an unending power struggle in the city. At some point in one of these books, Siege of Darkness, I think, and this, let me say, this is Ara on the Guild Wars original Guild Wars wiki taught in the Lord Odrin. part of it discussion. A drow house mother named Kyorl Odrin is murdered whilst praying to the spider goddess of power. It may be a point of trivia that Lord Odrin could be in reference to House Odrin from this series. Also, when Kyorl Odrin was murdered, her house lost all favor with the spider goddess, much the same way Lord Odrin lost favor with the gods of Tyria and the Guild Wars mythology. I think someone replies there that I think Lord Odrin really never had favor with the gods. So that was one part, but that could also play into maybe why he sides with Abaddon. Because if he doesn't have favor with the five gods, then maybe the sixth god might be his friend. And maybe maybe playing into that reference to the spider gods, maybe he's trying to appease Abaddon because he knows the true secret of what happens when maybe the world comes out of whack. Arachnia might, come rampaging through.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it kind of all leads back to. It's interesting that you mentioned that because it kind of all leads back to like, if Abaddon was plummeted into this realm of torment that maybe the gods didn't form, that they found that was actually Arachnia's home, maybe then Abaddon realized, oh crap, this is a great evil, and in his own way wanted to help. But I also talk about later, while he was helping, he wanted to get his own revenge, of course. I mean, but
Yeah.
Maybe he's putting these things in motion, like he put that warning for with Lord Odrin to warn them about Ascalon. Maybe there's something big under Ascalon. We don't know. Like I said, from all the past stuff, even the ghosts are even saying there's stuff going on underneath of it. There's this warning. I mean, you could say Abaddon, because he gave that stuff to the Char, drove the humans out of Ascalon. I mean, he's trying to get people away from Ascalon in a way. That's just one way to twist what he did. That's what I'm just saying. But I just take it from if looking at how Guild Wars 2 pulls the whole like, oh, these guys are evil just because they're opposing you, not necessarily because they're doing hugely evil things. Like the Mersat were just really doing something to keep themselves alive. I mean, in a way, that's what the humans are doing this whole time. And throughout Guild Wars 1, we fix the then and now, but break things 5 feet down, 5 feet down. I think this is one thing Abaddon was trying to do, was like trying to warn people. And so I'm saying maybe Abaddon wasn't fully evil, but he was maybe chaotic good. Like he was trying to do a good
Chaotic
deed, but
good.
Yeah, he's trying to do a good deed, but maybe not the best of routes. Got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, But it was just interesting that you brought that up, because I remember when I was reading about this, someone brought up Ari Salvatore and the whole kind of led back to the spider god thing, and so and I know we're trying to say like, oh, containing the realm of, but we do have to contain the realm of Tyria, but we do have to remember these are people making this. WoW does this where they put in references of stories that they enjoyed. I could definitely see someone that enjoyed the Dungeons and Dragons R.A. Salvatore series with the Drow and stuff like that, putting that in there. I mean,
yeah, it's more like just an extra tidbit. I don't know if it's mainly
and honestly, this is all speculation, like I said. But it is interesting that you brought it up, and someone else brought that up as that comparison of, especially with that name. Like it's weird that they share that name, the Odrin name. So it could just simply be a coincidence, But yeah, that's kind of my theory of. I think eventually we're gonna have to head to Ascalon, whether that's next update, which I doubt it, or 2 or 3 years down the road when we think we've solved it all and we're like, no, there's something bad under Ascalon. But I think there's story to be had under Ascalon catacombs. Hopefully, one day we'll get to it. But what are your thoughts overall on?
Uh,
I know
it's a lot
it's a lot.
it's a lot to sink in. It's I guess it's just linking everything to future story and how, because you're perceiving it as just from the Ring of Fire alone, you've perceived all the way to like this end of the spectrum. Um, I probably wouldn't have gone this far. I would probably have gone as far as what areas, like, people are like Thunderhead Keeps, things like that. To bring it to the point of bringing it back to Ascalon Catacombs and just uh, having this unknown entity, I guess. I will say entity that somehow transforms either people or gives them new abilities. Um, kind of would explain how Ritla became Revenant. Um, Entertaining the idea of the gods having different realms, and how they were created versus if they were already there established or just a makeshift into their own type of domain. Um, Kind of is an interesting idea. I kind of want to delve into that a bit more, but we'll do that later.
Yeah.
We'll do that later. Um, um, Personally, I would say that I would link. I think linking, the way I think of lore is just that I would focus on what I know now and what recent stuff I know now, and try to link it to maybe 2 or 3 episodes down the road.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
This
that.
is down like
Yeah,
this is future, like where I think the story fully
yeah.
would go.
This this is type. Yeah,
I,
this is like
I mean, hearing Wooden
long.
Potatoes theory of going to Thunder Keep, I don't know if we'll. Like I said, I could see the Caudicus White Mantle going there, but I could see maybe Lazarus going to the Shiver Peaks where we know the other Bloodstone is. And
Yeah.
that's where it gets interesting because I think then that means that's the 3 Bloodstones that we know of. Like, we know there's 5, but I think we only knew about 3 in Guild Wars 1, which was Bloodstone Fen,
Lots of
Abaddon's, like the one that fell back down onto Abaddon's mouth, which sounds funny, but and then the one that's underneath the Shiver Peak Mountains.
yeah.
Which
Um.
then
Yeah.
means where is he gonna go next? Are we gonna get a new area that we've never seen before? Because that still leaves 2 Bloodstones. Because this, see this, this is the. Should we go into this last part of this theory? Because it's kind of a separate theory, but it kind of plays into that Mersat idea as like a
Yeah, go for
bonus
it.
for sorry that Twitch took a crap.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
This is kind of what I came up with before or while I was doing this, but basically, I don't know how much this would make people mad, but human gods being the seers, which for people who don't know, the seers were we only saw one in Guild Wars 1 that he basically taught you how to deal with agony that the Mersat had, the agony spell. But long story short, long war between Mersat and Seers, but they do say the war itself did not annihilate the race, the Seer race, but rather their race was reduced over time after the war. The remains of their civilization can be seen today, though those who find it do not know what they are. So theoretically, any of these land like structures could be, something that the Seers did, or possibly. I mean, we do know actually the Bloodstones were Seer technology that the gods utilized, because the Seers were actually trying to originally, when the dragons existed, store the magic in the Bloodstones to hopefully save it. And unfortunately, I don't like. Long story short, like Mersat betrayed all the races and all that stuff and went and hid. Luckily, Glint protected the original races. Um, but yeah, it's just so yeah, the Bloodstone is a technology of the Seers. Whether they got it from someone else before, but all we know is they use the Bloodstones to put magic into it. So I'm assuming it started with them, but in the end, we don't know. Uh, but they even say roughly 250 years ago, one of the few surviving Seers aided some Ascalonian heroes. This is one thing I was talking about, fighting the Mersat and intentionally or not releasing the Titans. So it sounds like they almost helped. Oh, they helped get back at the Mersat. It's like, because of course they hated each other. They had a war with each other. But kind of plays into what we saw Cormyr ascend and become a god. Maybe these seers stepped into this and became the gods that we know. I mean,
So, wait, is it possible that there was like an old avatar of Balthazar, Dwayne, Grant, and all that, and some of those seers actually stepped up to take their place? Is that possible?
I think all we know about as like predecessors, where Abaddon had a predecessor before him, but they never say who
Because,
were.
because I
And
don't know,
Grenth
because
did have, all
the
that
whole
stuff. But
the whole purpose of like the five gods bringing the humans to Tyria thing, did the seers exist before that?
well, yeah, because the seers were part of the five races that dealt with the elder dragons and were protected by Glint during the last,
Okay.
and then the gods appeared afterwards. So
Okay. Hmm.
and it's just
I
interesting
mean,
that the human gods would turn to the Bloodstone when they released the magic, which, like I said, is possibly seer technology. It's like, how did they necessarily know how to use that? You know, unless are they just instantly all knowing? I mean, we don't know much about the human gods. We don't know much about the seers. It's a lot of, but it's just interesting that um, it this kind of the seers and the gods themselves. Like if you count Abaddon, one of his like side things of trying to get re-released or making Nightfall happen for himself. One of the side things was like, oh, it's an added perk that hey, let's wipe out that old race that used to bug us, the Mersat. That'll be convenient. Um, but that's my theory of Abaddon being a god seer type thing. From
okay.
I put here, still from his shackles, set forth the destruction of the Mersat with the Titans. And I mean, I would imagine Abaddon would still be a little cranky with the gods, themselves banishing them. But added bonus, got revenge on the other gods by sinking their home of Or, slash Ra. Because technically, I'm on Abaddon's side. They sank his temple first. Because when they
Violence
casted
begets
him into the rift, they threw the Temple of the Six into the realm of torment, but they also sank the temple in Or, which when Or rose, we can actually visit it. Granted, it's still underwater, but so. But yeah, he just got back at him. It was a little cheeky, like, hey, you jerks. But
sank
but
my temple, I sank your hard country. Yeah.
but it also I kind of like that. It makes sense with like if the seers became these gods afterwards. I look at it as maybe the Mersats saw this happen and were basically jealous. So what did they do? Hey, we'll go find our own humans to become their gods. Which, ta-da, white mantle.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is kind of ironic.
yeah, I'd like to see it like play out. Eventually, someday we find out they're the seers, and we were just being basically played by two elder races. Because I mean, kind of that's how like if you watch Star Trek or anything like that, like superior technology looks alien to like a primitive, lesser race, like a primitive race. So in a way, while we have that still happening, it's yeah, you still have that happen. So
Mm.
I think it could definitely be interesting. Once again, I think this is a long road, but I if we want to look at the short road, I definitely could agree with a general area of where Wooden Potatoes is saying. Like, I could definitely see Caudicus's White Mantle maybe heading to Thunderhead Keep just because of like we said, one of their leaders was there, which I think Caudicus would go after, like artifacts to strengthen his position.
Mm.
I would think Lazarus would probably maybe head towards the Shiver
Ring of
Peak Mountains
Fire.
where the Bloodstone is, which kind of makes it nice because maybe I gotta look at the map again, but figure out how close both are because maybe they could fit that into one zone, which would strengthen that idea because they could play both.
Hmm.
But looking at it, I don't even know where the. Well, that was the heart. That was the thing. I don't think there was a definitive place where it was because even though the entrance, the cave was in the Maguma area, the cave supposedly led to. A developer said it was under the Shiver Peak Mountains, even though that was visually kind of a stretch. But I don't know. We shall see. I mean, like, where do you think we'll theoretically go next?
Um, I really, I can't tell just because I don't know what we'll be doing in Ring of Fire right now.
Yeah.
Because I think Lazarus will be in Ring of Fire
Yeah, my
for
assumption is
something.
Lazarus is going after the Bloodstones to possibly explode them, which, like I said, goes back to the whole thing of getting back at possibly the human gods slash seers, because, like I said, or he's just trying to consume so much magic that, maybe he becomes a god. I mean,
Yeah, I think it'll. Let's see, it'll be Ring of Fire. It could be he's just going after the other Bloodstones. So, or maybe it has something to do with Dorkamali. I think after Ring of Fire stuff in there, I could probably tell where we're going to go next, if
yeah.
anything. But if he's after Bloodstones, then if it would be the next Bloodstone areas, so probably the ones that we know of, and
Well,
then you said there are two of them we don't know, so
yeah.
uh, those we would have to like maybe time you'll make a device to figure it out. I don't know, but
Well, I think
probably those areas, if anything.
uh, it's also important to note that the Bloodstones. I mean, when the Mersal were using them, it was using souls, so they were slaughtering a lot of people on them. Well, like I said before, Lord Odrin to be able to open these portals, uh, he said through great sacrifices, like he killed a lot of people, like he consumed a lot of
Hmm.
people, like in powerful rituals to open up one of these first portals. What if he's trying to open up the mist to maybe traverse it to maybe go get more Mossad, or maybe even just
That's what I
simply
was
try to
thinking.
escape again? Because, like I said, going back to Guild Wars 1, Mossad were being evil for self preservation. Maybe he's just doing this so
Hmm.
he can get the heck out of here.
Yeah, so I was thinking he's either going to bring like a Mersad army, or he's trying to just leave to another plane of existence. Um, and that kind of leads me to believe a Bloodstone will be under LA and it'll blow up again or something. But um,
Or he just goes, before I go, boom, and just blows up LA.
yeah, I don't know, but I feel like he'll go after Bloodstones for now, if
Mm-hmm.
anything, or there'll be. I feel like maybe something of the Dork will be involved. I feel like Lazarus will show up in this episode for some reason. I don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
though.
I feel so
That's
too. Just because we're so close to a bloodstone that I'd be surprised if we weren't.
yeah. So
But
I just feel either something with Dorkamali, the Bloodstone that's there. Lazarus will be involved somehow. Um, Anything else? I don't think Caucus will
I
be there
really
at
like the
all.
theory that he's trying to open a portal, whether that be to because the miss is time and space. Like he could technically go back to when the I mean, this is going a little bit Doctor Who-ish when David Tennant style, where they're like, we're bringing back Gallifrey. Like, all of Gallifrey is like, maybe he goes back to the war where there is a lot of Mersat, between the Mersat and the Seers, and pulls in
Possible.
all these Mersat that, you know, or like we've been saying, maybe he is just trying to escape. But that is important to note that even if technically during Guild Wars 1 we wiped out all the Mersat, we don't know if that's all the Mersat that just showed up. Like, we don't know, how they were hidden. If they were in
Hmm.
another realm or they were just hidden from sight and they just reappeared sooner.
Yeah.
But, him returning, we don't know if it's just him. I definitely think he's going to open a portal. What he's going to do with the portal, who knows? But that's only after
Hmm.
he blows up these stones, which it is interesting during these episode 1 we see uh when you go to the broken part of the bloodstone, when you go down below, there's that like little coliseum, like that little circular like room that has like the burned in like bodies. Like it still looks like
Yeah.
there's more, like he sacrificed more people to this ritual or whatever he's doing with the bloodstones, whether that was before he blew up the thing or after, we don't.
Hmm. That's true too.
But so he's still sacrificing many, many people. So, which still plays into utilizing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm just wondering how many lives he has to sacrifice to get the benefits that he wants from the Bloodstone. That's what I want to know.
if I'm a betting man, I would have to say, what is it, 5,000 to get the Slayer achievement in game. So hey, that's how he has to do in this game. He has to do it for himself. He has to
Hmm.
get 5,000 people,
Hmm.
and then he'll get the Slayer achievement that unlocks the portal to his friends. He gets a port to friend.
Yay.
But any other thoughts or theories or?
um, I haven't thought about going to Sure Peaks for story, but could be possible. I think there'll be some Shiver Peak stuff just because Primaris is involved. I don't. Again, I think White Mantle, Messiah are the most focused thing, but I think there'll be some Primaris things as well on the side. So Shiver Peaks could be involved as well, in addition to White Mantle stuff. So when Thunderhead Keep was brought up for White Mantle stuff, it also made me think, oh, we could also do Primordial stuff at the same time. So, Sure Peaks is a very possible area that we go into. Apparently, above the right side of Mount Maelstrom, we don't have unlocked, so that could be a new zone for us.
Mm-hmm.
Never know. Uh, I think after Ring of Fire, I could probably talk more about how the story's gonna go. But
Do you
that's
think
all
it's
I
just
got.
Shiver Peaks because of the original Living Story? We have Ring of Fire, Flame, Shiver Peaks, Frost. We got Flame and Frost again. Oh my god, it's happening all over.
All the signs.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
Scarlet did say she wanted to try to warn us. She said one day you'll realize why you needed me. Maybe season 1 was literally a hint to future seasons. Flame and Frost. I'm convinced we're going to Shiver Peaks because we have to now. Flame and now Frost.
it's quite possible. I mean, we don't know where you said two bloodstones. We don't know where they are.
Yes, I don't think we know where they
So
landed.
one of them could be Sure Peaks. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there was one in the Shadow Peaks, but doesn't mean there couldn't be
More than
more.
one, yeah.
Because all they did was throw them in the volcano and they blasted apart. So, but
Yeah.
and if people are wondering why we're probably not taking as many uh, chat discussions in the second half, was because fortunately Twitch kind of something's wrong with Twitch, and so we just decided to finish it with a recording. So, unfortunately, people that were in chat having some great theories, if you're watching this over on YouTube, do apologize, but feel free to talk. Throw in the comments your theories, and definitely would love to hear some. And like I know mine are pretty crazy far out there. Like I said, I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is just one strand of the lore that you could run down. And this is why I like Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars in general. It's I think it plays the human mind very well. You could take the
Mm.
Mersat and say, yes, they're evil. You could take the Mersat and say, well, they were just trying to live. Same as what the humans were doing. Like, they're only evil because they were their living was going to mean harvesting the humans. Like, it was a bad thing towards us. So that's the only reason why they were evil. I mean, it's very, very much how the world works in a way. I mean, but before we get down that road, uh, uh, this was like a special one. Like, we'll probably do more with the like lore stuff, but it's not gonna be like an every week thing. We do after show where we will talk about lore. We'll talk about gaming in general. Uh, all kinds of stuff. So if you are watching this on YouTube and you like this more freeform thing, definitely try to make it out on Saturdays, for the show, or even more towards the after the show. I mean, love to have anybody come out. More the merrier. More ideas, more possibilities. Closer we might get to the possible answer. But Age, since this is a new thing, that's not Age. Where can you be found?
Hi. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube at age. I don't really talk theory or lore much on my streams, but it's always fun to talk about every now and then. So,
But I'll usually pop into
yeah,
his stream and force him to.
yeah. Which I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah, it's fun to speculate from all angles. But and you can find me at something_Dayo on Twitch and Twitter. And like I said, this is more of a one-off thing, but we do a podcast every Saturday about Guild Wars 2 news and everything that's happening in and around it. That's on live on Twitch Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And we do throw those up on YouTube on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. You can also follow us at Talking Skritt. We usually, we'll usually tweet out what we're doing that week or like news of Guild Wars 2 or stuff like that. Also, the two people that aren't here, Jim and Robin, every Wednesday they have started up a Zero to Hero. It is basically they're gonna do the best in PV and the PvP. What is it?
Do their best, not the best.
No, they're
There's a
doing the
very
best.
big
The
difference.
best. What it? Oh, they're doing the best in ranked. So watch them skyrocket to the top of the charts. Uh, but that's every Wednesday. I believe they do that 7 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be 4 p.m. Pacific for everyone else. So we will see everybody hopefully Saturdays, and like I said, leave your theories and talk about what we talked about, and maybe stem off of what we said in the comments below. So as always, we'll see everybody next week. Bye.
Later.